Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 23 of the anime series Arslan Senki, or the Heroic Legend of Arslan. And this was just an action-packed episode from the start. Of course, we're seeing the very first steps being taken in this tremendous battle between, of course, Silver Mask's Lusitanian and Parsian factions versus Arslan's Parsian faction. And, Narcissus coming in there with all of these different strategic plots, and they're very much concerned. Arslan is concerned about what, they're going to do up against so many more soldiers, such a larger force in this keep of Saint Emmanuel. And it's intriguing, like, how this is almost the best of episode in a sense, because all of these primary and background secondary characters that have been uber intriguing and have blurred the lines between black and white, evil versus good, are definitely in the shades of gray, that have been standout characters. They're all on form and all showing up, cropping up in this episode, and it was just really goosebumps inducing, that seeing all these familiar faces, the people going up against their adversaries, and you're still, because of how drawn you are to the characters, it's not just clear cut, well, I want that guy to win. It's, oh, I wish they didn't have to be fighting, and that kind of thing. Between, you basically have Kishwar and Sam at one point in the sort of underground tunnels and everything, the aqueducts, and Kishwar being the badass with his dual swords. Sam being very much a character you know he's on the wrong side, and you just wish he would wake up out of it. Kubard, who, we saw previously, very much as I speculated, he is working for the efforts of Arslan and everything. He's sided with Arslan's Parsian faction. He just comes out of nowhere and saves a guy, and he's like, looked like you needed help, son, And I loved that. You have Xandy's going up against Daryun, which was like a long time coming, and it looks like, basically Daryun wipes the floor with him after they are sort of butting heads for a little while there. And then you have just this sorcerer dude show up out of nowhere. First time we've seen him in, like, almost 10 episodes, something like that. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when the last time was we saw him. I think it was on, like, a cliffside or something like that. But he kind of steals off with Xandis' body, and Daryun's kind of like, the hell? And that was mind-blowing. You have, Etole, like, she's really pissing me off in this episode. Like, I want to be endeared to her, but it's like, stop with the Yaldabaoth faith, This is her driving force. She believes that anyone who does not subscribe to this doctrine, this Yaldabaoth faith, this belief system, is a heathen to be wiped off the earth. And I know she's misguided, and she needs to become sort of, worldly, more worldly rounded to the scenario going on around her. And you got that guy, she goes to, and she says effectively, I'm going to take part in this battle, whether you give me your blessing or not. He's very protective of her and doesn't want her to take part in it. And it's almost, you see the recognition on her face when she first takes a life during this battle, the blood on her face, the blood on her hands. She's shocked by that, and she calls back on this guy's being so protecting, and, he didn't want her exposed to the evils of war, the loss of life, and, because even, I was having a discussion recently to this effect, even if you kill someone in self-defense, it changes you, and it doesn't change you in a positive light unless you're, a crackpot already. So, we see that she goes through these conflicting emotions after she, defends herself, basically, against this one soldier's attack. And then as more soldiers are oncoming, you see her hand grip that, the butt of that sword even tighter. And so we see that she has just strengthened her convictions, which, again, was part of the worry I think that this guy had for her. And everything is just building up and building up. And I love that we do have a little bit of a sort of down moment, a very cool character moment between Ferengis and Alfred, where, they're just talking about their beliefs in Arslan and their beliefs in this cause. We've heard plenty of that from Narcissus and Daryun, and even Giev in his own way, and all that kind of stuff. And it's really nice and comforting to hear, not only see these two, women among this group sort of relating and just having a chat, but also getting the sense that they are as loyal to Arslan's cause and Arslan himself, because of whom Arslan is. They are so won over by him. Even Alfred, who you might not expect. She's kind of like a gypsy, wanderer and everything like that. Her tribe is this nomadic tribe, and yet she too can perceive the good effects that Arslan is putting into motion and potentially going to set into motion if he does ascend the throne. And it was just really awesome, you know, seeing them both in such agreement like that. And as the action ensues, we basically see that, you know, to my surprise and delight, Tole sees Elam and recognizes him, and I guess, you know, gathers a couple of forces, or a couple of troops, whatever, and they follow him to the headquarters that Arslan and Narcissus have set up. They had a whole completely, like, secondary one, which was the fake, was what I meant to say, and a lot of the, you know, Lusitanian troops were led there and had their asses handed to them because it was surrounded and all this stuff. But Atole, you know, effectively shows up at the genuine one, and we finally, at the end of this episode, have the confrontation I've been dying for, just dying for, between, of course, you know, Atole and Arslan tells her straight to her face. He walks right up to her. She's got the blade in hand, and at first she's not believing it. She's like, oh, what's this, you know, peasant boy doing here? They faked us out. Where's Arslan? But he admits, I am Arslan, and that's the cliffhanger. That's like, I wanted to punch my frickin' phone because I'm watching it on a phone, but it's just like you had to have a cliffhanger right then and there, you know. And so it's like the battle is in full form, and we finally have so many of these characters coming together. As I say, once again, Sam and Kishward, you know, Daryun and Xandis, even though that kind of was left undone with the sorcerer's intervention, but all these other characters coming together, I can only assume that very shortly we will see Silver Mask fully entering the fray. And will he be going up against Daryun? It's kind of hinted at that being a possibility with the, you know, PV for the next episode. But I am dying above all to see what happens in the moments following the cliffhanger between Arslan and, you know, Atole, now knowing who he is. And what is she going to do? Is she going to have, as I kind of hope, and I've talked about in previous episode discussion videos, is she going to have an awakening for the side of good? Is she going to start questioning her own position? Or is she going to, as we saw her, you know, tightening her grip on that, you know, the butt of that sword, is she going to only strengthen her convictions in a sort of ignorance? Because, you know, outcropping from ignorance is this belief in the Yaldabaoth faith, the one true God of the Lusitanian country and all that kind of stuff. And it's not just, they're not just talking about the country. We hear dialogue to the effect that anyone across the whole world who doesn't subscribe to this faith is a heathen to be destroyed, to be wiped out effectively. And it's just like, girl, wake up. You know, I want to be for your cause. I want to be for you as a character. I don't want to be like thinking, oh, just kill the bitch. You know, because again, this is a series that it offers us so many shades of gray. I can't stand where she's coming from personally. I can't stand her beliefs. I can't stand all of that. But at the same time, it's a perfect example. I feel so for her character. I want her to learn the lesson before it's too late. You know, I'm championing her even though I can't stand her cause. And that show, that's a lot of what these characters amount to. So I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode. I wish I could fast forward the week in advance and see it now. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 23 of Arslan Senki, if you've seen it. And if you enjoyed it as much as I did, if you were just, you know, jumping off the walls with all of the characters coming to the fore in this episode, all of those great, you know, mano-a-mano battles and everything like that. Again, downtime sequences and scenes like with Alfred and Ferengis and all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. And so yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.